Hello world, and we are back. My name's Kyle Fischl.
I attended Juilliard. I'm a graduate of the Harvard Business School. I travel quite extensively.
And this is going to be episode 61 of my poker vlog. Today I'm going to be talking about the session that happened October 3rd. It was my third unofficial meetup game. We do a $10 bomb pot every time there's a dealer change, which brings quite a bit of action. The first 3 bomb pots that occurred in this game had 3-way all-ins on the flop. I was unfortunately not a part of any of that as I did not connect. But if that is the type of poker game you like getting into, the next unofficial meetup game will happen Saturday, November 7th. I try to do it the first Saturday of every month at Orange City. So if you are in the Orlando area, that is going to be the funnest table in the room. Second quick note, I'll actually be in Southwest Florida this weekend. So Friday, October 23rd, I'll be at the Bonita Springs card room. Used to be the Naples dog track, but if you're in Southwest Florida and want to play, I will be at that room this Friday. So see you there. All right, let's get right into some hands. First interesting hand. There is a $10 button straddle. Yes, we play 1, 3, 10 at this table. With one limper, a middle position player raises to $25. I am in the cutoff with King 10 of hearts. Definitely going to call a suited king in position. The straddler and the limper folds. So we're going heads up to a flop, which comes Queen Jack 6, 2 clubs. Pretty decent for me. You know, a bunch of Broadway cards out there. Well, my opponent bets $35. Kind of a small sizing. With an open-ended straight draw, I'm definitely going to call at least this street and see what develops. So I make the call. The turn is the 3 of diamonds. And now my opponent bets $55. Now comes the decision-making point. One street to come with just 8 outs is probably not the best way to play. So at this point, I'm actually calculating my bluff outs. Now, bluff outs are referring to all the cards that I believe, if hit, I can raise and credibly get my opponent off maybe a king, queen, ace, jack type hand. So with that in mind, I believe that any diamond or any club would also give me the opportunity to bluff him off as I am second to act and could easily rep either one of those flush draws if they come in. Additionally, I think my king will be live some of the time, not always, but it's a decent amount of showdown value. So with all that in mind, I make the call for $55. The river is the ace of diamonds.
Yes, that's it!
And my opponent bets $75. We're not bluffing here anymore. We're trying to pick a sizing that can get the max amount of value because my opponent should never really have a diamond flush draw unless he had exactly king jack of diamonds. So with only one really acceptable combination in my mind, I have the best hand here pretty much always. So I only have $350 in my stack and a min raise would be $150. Min raising I think looks a little too strong, and making it around 200 is over half my stack, which really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Whenever someone bets more than half of their stack, it looks weird. So with the stack sizes are what they are, I think a jam is the only acceptable size. So I go all in for $349. The hands that I think can call me are easily ace, queen, and ace, jack. Those 2 pair combinations make a lot of sense, as well as queen jack. And I don't think it's too out of the realm of possibilities that my opponent could actually have pocket aces, which would also easily pay this off. He bet 3 streets. He's repping pretty strong. I should have the best hand here. My opponent thinks for over 2 minutes. I'll cut the video down so you don't have to watch that. But he eventually does throw in the call.
Go ahead. Make my millennium.
And he has pocket 6s.
Nice hand, Kyle.
Yeah. Show us the flush.
It's a way to get some value instead of 6s.
And a flush he wins. I know. I was hoping after all that acting, you would flow over a flush.
And the EBT card. Get it out.
Good air. I'm good.
Here I come, baby.
Next interesting hand. It folds to me in middle position. I have ace king of clubs and I raise to $15. A late position player raises to $45. This is an opponent who I've literally never seen 3-bet up until this point across 2 or 3 hours. So the fact that it's the first 3-bet I've ever seen out of him, it gains a lot of credit. Even though I block aces and kings, I don't think it's fully impossible that he can't have either one of them. So with all that in mind, I just call.
What do you think of this?
The flop is ace, king, 8, all diamonds.
You like it?
So now the combinations of aces and kings have been dropped down to exactly 1. I'm prepared to just check call this street and see what develops. But since my opponent checks, I'm not sure exactly what to think at this point. The turn is the ace of hearts, so we boat up. At this point, I'm really just hoping my opponent has pocket kings, because I think pocket kings would check an all diamond board just for a little bit of pot control, and then now that he boats up, he's hoping I have a flush. So I check to my opponent, and unfortunately, he checks it back. So he can't have pocket aces, probably doesn't have pocket kings. The river is the king of hearts. Really a horrible card, because now if he had like ace queen, he just totally sucked out on me pretty hard. But I can't let this check through, as I do have top full house. I bet $75, and my opponent thinks for a bit before calling with queens. Oh, maybe I should have just 4-bet jam the got all in pre, but that's a little bit results oriented. This guy did have a premium, as I suspected. I just happened to get a good flop.
I mean, but he checked the flop. You check, he check. I got a bet queen on the building there.
Well, they're supposed to put his house.
Next interesting hand. A middle position player raises to $15. There's one caller, and I'm in the small blind with pocket queens. I raise to $56, size up a bit because I'll be playing the entire hand out of position. So, totally fine to just win the $30 now. But if they call, I'll play a sizable pot with a premium. Only the middle position pre-flop aggressor calls, so we are going heads up to a flop, which is 10-7-3 rainbow. Very good flop for me, no real 2-pair combinations to worry about, so I'll just go for the value protection bet. Happy to just take this down. I bet $85. Well, my opponent calls. Not the greatest sight. Hopefully he has like ace 10 or something. The turn is the king. Pretty horrible card for me, as my opponent could just float with a lot of Broadway cards that include a king, so that's a horrendous card. I check to him trying to pot control a bit, ready to call any bet he throws out, but he checks it back. The river is the deuce of spades, very safe card, and I check it to my opponent thinking I'm going to win nearly all of the time, and my opponent brings one black chip forward, puts 2 greens on top of it, puts 2 more greens on top of it, and then puts 2 reds on top of it, and slides it into the middle. Now this is normally a tell that I see at lower stakes. It's the old, I need this guy to fold, add a little more. I need this guy to fold, add a little more. I need this guy to fold. He'll definitely fold for this much. That accompanied with the board of what is he actually betting for value here? Like, is he saying he has exactly ace, king, or pocket kings? Would you even bet that much with that hand? There's nothing on this board that even makes sense that would bet that much, unless you happen to flop a set of 7s, but I don't really know why you wouldn't bet the turn or bet smaller to try to hope I call with a hand that strong. So this just screams bluff, like, to the heavens. So I snap call, and he says you're good and mucks his cards. So he was definitely going for it there. Did not work out for him. It was definitely a good attempt, though. I was just too strong to fold.
Okay.
A final hand of note. An early position player raises to $11. There are 3 callers to me, and I'm in middle position with pocket 6s. Definitely going to call this one. We're going set mining, and the button calls as well. So we are going 6 ways to a flop of ace 10 6 all diamonds. It checks all the way to me in middle position. I'm gonna go for some straightforward value here. Last time it was an all diamond board and I flopped very good. I did not get paid the way I should have, So I'm going to lead out here, and I bet $34. Well, the button raises to $80. And it's back to me. This particular opponent is definitely an action player, like 100%. I can see him doing this raise with as weak as ace, jack, jack of diamonds. So I'm not too worried about a flush just yet. And I think that there's a bunch of hands that are drawing extremely thin that would pay off a raise here. So I raised to $250, and my opponent thinks for quite a long time before calling. I'm very confident that he only has a single diamond, so there'll be plenty of safe turn cards that I can just jam with.
Agent order to pump him up.
That is not one of them. Not at all. That is the worst card ever. I checked my opponent. His hands are trembling so much that he can't even gather his chips for the jam all in. With that 4 of diamonds on the turn, I only have 10 outs once. This is definitely a fold with a bit of disgust. My opponent later jests with me saying he had black pocket 3s, and you can actually learn a lot about a person's hand strength, about how they act after the hand is over. His, like, just comfort, jokiness, like, most people can't do that with an actual bluff, and really this isn't a board to even try it on, but his whole demeanor after the fact just reinforced my thought that he only had 1 diamond and really got a favorable turn card. We punted off quite a bit towards the end.
I got the greatest run that anyone could ever exist. I expect him to have like ace, jack of diamonds. That's like exactly what I put him on.
But luckily we are out of the game for $250 of profit, which for an 8-hour session equates to $31 an hour and 10.4 big blinds an hour. Well, if you watched all the way to this point, thank you. I appreciate it. Please consider subscribing, as it shows me you appreciate my style of content and tells me to keep going. And there will be more to come next week. Thank you.